What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing an Exodia deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck is currently one of my favorite decks to play because you get to summon out one of the coolest boss monsters ever created, the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become our notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go and get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing all 5 pieces of Exodia in this deck so we can reveal them for our copy of Millennium Ankh so we can actually summon out the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate. These cards are extremely important combo pieces in the deck to basically just use them so we can actually summon out our big boss monster. We then play 3 copies of Heart of the Blue Eyes. Heart of the Blue Eyes is definitely a 3 of in the build because this card is always treated as a Millennium card, but this card is super unique because you can actually discard this card to search Millennium Ankh from our deck to our hand so we can activate it, reveal all 5 pieces of Exodia, and then summon out the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate so we can go in for game. We then play 3 copies of Jin Wakes from a Millennium. This card is definitely a 3 of in the build, and this card is awesome because this card and the rest of our Millennium monsters besides Heart of the Blue Eyes actually share a common ability that you're going to reveal them in your hand and then place them in your back row as continuous spell cards. You can then activate their effects to either pay 2,000 life points or reveal Millennium Ankh in your hand, do special summon them, and then get unique effects. With your copy of Jin letting you add a Millennium monster from your deck to your hand when this card is special summoned, which is such a powerful effect to be able to use to instantly grab the exact Millennium monster you want from your deck to your hand. We then play 3 copies of Shield of the Millennium Dynasty. Shield is definitely a 3 of in the build because when this card is special summoned, you actually get to add a Millennium Ankh from your deck to your hand. We then play 2 copies of Golem. Golem is definitely a 2 of in the build as well because when this card is special summoned, you get to add a Yugioh Temple from your deck to your hand. We then play a single copy of Bestial Magnamut. Bestial Magnamut is awesome as a 1-of tech card in this build because this card has the ability you can actually target a light or dark monster in either player's grave, banish it if you do specials on this card, and it's a quick effect if your opponent controls a monster. But the reason we play this card is if this card is special summoned, you can activate this effect that during the end phase of this turn, you can actually add a dragon monster from your deck or grave to your hand, except a copy of this card, meaning we can actually use this card to search out our copy of Heart of the Blue Eyes, which is awesome, especially if we go second in this build, which this deck loves to go second, so we can OTK. So this card is awesome in the build to be able to use as a hand trap, so we can basically just go in for game on the follow-up. We then play 3 copies of Lava Golem. Lava Golem is great as a 3-of to basically just tribute over 2 of our opponent's monsters so we can go in for game. And this deck really doesn't have a normal summon, so this card is awesome to be able to just tribute over 2 of your opponent's monsters and then go in for game. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is definitely a 3-of in the build to basically just stop the opponent from touching the deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is definitely a 1-of the build to basically just stop your opponent from hand trapping you or going in for all of your plays. We made a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is awesome in the deck, so we actually play 2 different field spells in the deck that this card can search. Speaking of 2 field spells, we also play a single copy of Set Rotation. Set Rotation is great because we can actually search out our field spell that we want and hand our opponent another field spell so we can actually play around cards like Evenly Match and Infinite Impermanence, which is so cool. We then play a single copy of Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Prosperity is great in the deck as a 1-of, just help us dig into the deck for the exact card that we need. We a single copy of Obliterate Blaze. Obliterate Blaze is a crazy powerful card that our copy of the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate can actually grab during the end phase, but this card actually lets us equip all 5 pieces of Exodia to our copy of the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate, giving it 10,000 attack points and piercing damage so we can go in for game. We then play 2 copies of Yugioh Temple. Ouija Temple is awesome in this deck as a 2/0 because our copy of Golem can search this card, and we can grab this card off of Terraforming or Set Rotation, which is awesome because this card is the ability during the main phase you can actually place a monster from your hand in your spell and trap card zone as a face-up continuous spell card, then place a Millennium monster from your deck in your spell and trap card zone as a face-up continuous spell card, so we can use their ability and summon them out to our side of the field, grabbing the exact card that we need. And a really cool nostalgic effect is if a face-up Millennium monster that you control is destroyed by battle of a card effect, you can actually place it in your spell and trap card zone face-up as a continuous spell card instead. Basically, when the monster gets destroyed, it goes back into its stone tablet form, which is so cool as an anime reference. We then played 2 copies of Secret Village of the Spellcasters. This card is great to be able to play because this card is so easy to get to in this deck with your copy of Terraforming, Set Rotation, and playing 2 copies of this card because you can actually just use Set Rotation to hand your opponent a copy of Ouija Temple, and we can grab our copy of Secret Village, and once we summon out our copy of the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate, we control a Spellcaster so we can activate this card and make it so our opponent cannot activate spell cards, and usually in this deck we're always going to control our copy of the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate so we can go in for game, but this card is awesome in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Millennium Ankh. Millennium Ankh is what the entire deck revolves around. This card is actually how we summon out the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate, and it requires us to show all 5 of our Exodia pieces that are in our hand, our deck, and our face on the field to special summon the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate from our extract, and then shuffle all face-up monsters that we control into the deck, except Exodia monsters whose original level is 10 or higher, and Millennium monsters, and also you cannot summon for the rest of the turn. And after this card is activated, you shuffle it into the deck instead of sending it to the graveyard, so you can use it all over again, which is so cool. We then play 3 copies of Super Polymerization. Super Poly is so cool in the deck as a 3/0 to basically just help us break our opponent's board, and it's a great card to be able to play in this deck. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get in to the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Angel Statue. Angel Statue is great because we do play Still Hat Rabbit in the deck, so we can actually set this card to our side of the field and then use it as a special summon negate. We then played 2 copies of Exode Fires of Rage. Fires of Rage is crazy powerful in the deck. This card is actually a board wipe because it has the ability, this card is always treated as an Exode or an Obliterate card, so you can actually use it with your copy of the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate and set this card to your side of the field during the end phase using its effect. With this card, it has the ability, if you control a level 10 or higher Exodia monster, basically our boss monster, you can destroy all cards your opponent controls, period. That is such a broken ability to be able to use to basically just board wipe your opponent and use it as an interruption to just destroy everything they have on their side of the field so we can go in for game on the follow-up. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is really good as a 3/0 in the build to basically just stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with our main boss monster, the Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate. This card is definitely a 3/0 in the build because this card is our main boss monster that has 5 different effects, and all you have to do is activate Millennium Ankh to summon this card out, which is broken. This card has the ability that it cannot be destroyed by our opponent's card effects. Once per turn, if this card battles during damage calculation, you can make this card gain attack equal to your life points permanently, by the way. So every single time it attacks, it does gain those attack points, which is crazy. Also, once per turn, when a spell trap card or effect is activated, quick effect, you can actually negate the activation, which you have if you have Secret Village of the Spellcasters alongside this card. All you have to worry about is trap cards with this card, which is insane. Once per turn, during the end phase, you get to set an Exode or an Obliterate spell trap from the deck, which is your copy of Obliterate Blaze or Fires of Rage you can set with this card. And the only bad effect on this card is once per turn during the standby phase, you lose 1,000 life points. But it does have 5 different broken abilities, 1 for each piece of Exodia, which is so cool. We then play a single copy of Snake Eyes Doomed Dragon. Doomed Dragon is very interesting in this deck as a one-of because this card is super easy to summon out to your side of the field because it must either be fusion summon or special summon by sending 2 face-up monster cards from your spell and trap card zone to the graveyard. So we can send our Millennium monsters that are in our back row to the graveyard to actually summon this card, and also if this card is special summoned, you can target a face-up monster on the field and place it face-up in its owner's spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell, which is great to actually bounce one of our opponent's monsters into the back row, which is actually insane. We then play for super poly targets a single copy of Mud Dragon, 1 copy of Garua, and a single copy of Dracos Depalia. These cards are great, and just classic super poly targets being the best ones in the entire game. And since currently Blue Eyes is one of the best decks in the entire format, I'm also playing a single copy of Star Source Dragon. Star Source Dragon is really good as a one-up. This does require a light or a dark dragon monster plus another dragon monster to actually make this card. So this card plus super poly just ends Blue Eyes' entire game, which is crazy, crazy good. We then play a single copy of Psychic End Punisher. Psychic End Punisher is great to be able to summon in this deck because we actually pay a lot of life points. Our life points are going to be different for our opponents a lot. And this card is really good to be able to summon to your side of the field using your copy of Ash Blossom plus a level 8 monster. So it's super easy to summon in this deck. We then play a single copy of Typhon. Typhon is great in this build as a one-up to basically just use this card as a balance and a skill drain for 3,000 or higher attack point monsters. Play a single copy of Underworld Goddess just to out towers like boss monsters your opponent might be playing. A single copy of the Earth Charmer. Earth Charmer is awesome as a really cool card to be able to play in the deck because all of our Millennium monsters besides Heart of the Blue Eyes are actually Earth. Then my single copy of Silhouette Hat Rabbit. I absolutely love this ultimate rare, and it's so cool in this deck because it actually sets our copy of our Angel statue to our side of the field, which is great to be able to do, so we can basically just use it as a special summon negate. Plus, if we do activate it and this card's on our side of the field, we can easily use it as a spell trap pop with our copy of Silhouette Hat Rabbit. We made a single copy of SP. SP is great as a double interruption against the opponent. It's just super powerful to play in this deck. And then finally play a single copy of Moon. Moon is just great to be able to play in the deck alongside your copy of Underworld Goddess. So you actually out 2 monsters or a copy of Underworld Goddess extremely easily. So that's it for the deck, guys. I would enjoy this deck. Is super powerful to be able to play. If you guys have never played an Exodia deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's an extremely powerful deck to play, and it's crazy how easy it is to OTK your opponent using your copy of the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate. I even have combo videos on the channel for this deck, which you guys should definitely check out. 3 combos that you need to know to play Exodia, and it's super helpful for you guys to learn to play this deck, and it's just absolutely amazing. So that's going to be this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.